Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Mrs. Mariam Farid. I'm with you today to explain a grammar lesson which is passive voice for prep stage. Let's look at our slides. Slide 2. What is the active sentence? The active sentence begins with the subject, the doer of the action, followed by the verb and then the object. Okay, so we have active sentence and passive one. To be able to understand the passive sentence, you have to understand the active firstly. For example, the farmer feeds the cows every morning. The waiter serves the breakfast from 7 to 10. What we call them active sentences. Why? Because we are beginning here with the doer of the action. Let's move to slide 3. In order to change the active sentence into passive one, we have to start by the object. At the beginning of the sentence, then put verb to be the same in the same tense. So we have to follow some rules to change from active into passive. First of all, you have to find out which word is the object and begin with the object. Then verb to be in the same tense of the main verb and then past participle of the main verb. For example, the cows are fed every morning. Here the cows, the object, then are verb to be in the present simple, then fed the past participle of the main verb. The usage of this, we emphasize the action rather than the doer. Why do you think we have to change the active into passive? Because we are making emphasis on the doer of the action. Sorry, the action rather than the doer. Who or what responsible for it? And we can use by if we would like to inform the others about the doer. For example, the cows are fed by the farmer every morning. Here, the action itself is more important than the one who does the action. Slide 4. The form of the passive voice in present simple. Of course, we can change all sentences into the passive. So we have to know the way in which we are going to change each tense into the passive. Number 1, present simple, it's the same way in all tenses. We have to begin with the object, then verb to be, then past participle. And because we are talking here about the present simple, we have to use am, is, or are. According, of course, to the word which we are going to begin our sentence with. Many tourists travel to many countries. Passive of this, you have to tell me that many tourists is subject, travel the verb. To many countries, of course, we can consider it as the object. So we have to begin with the object saying many countries. Then, which tense we are going to write verb to be in? Travel, it's present simple. So you have to use verb to be in the present simple, which is am or is or are. Many countries, of course, would take are. Then the past participle of the verb, which is travel, would be traveled. So many countries are traveled. A letter is written. Marwa writes a letter. It would be a letter is written. Slide 5. Moving to another tense, which is the past simple. Begin with the object. Then verb to be in the past simple would be was or were. And then the past participle. For example, a good friend sent the package. A good friend subject, sent verb in the past simple. The package is the object. So you have to begin with the object, which is the package. Then verb to be in the past simple, which is was or were, and of course the package here, of course, would take was, not were. Then the past participle of the main verb sent would be also sent. So the package was sent by a good friend. Moving to the next slide. The form of the passive voice in the present continuous. Don't forget that you have tried the rule in which we are using every time that you are answering passive voice. You have to begin with the object, verb to be, and then past participle. And the form of the present continuous is am, is, are, and verb plus ing. And because we are talking here about verb to be, it would be am, is, are, verb, which is be, and ing, of course, it would be being, and then the past participle of the verb. Mom is cleaning the room at the moment. Let's change it into passive. Mom is the subject, is cleaning verb in the present simple, present continuous. The room is the object. Let's begin with the object, which is the room. Then verb to be in the present continuous, am or is or are plus being, and the room here would be is. being, then the past participle of the main verb, which is cleaned at the moment. Slide 7. The form of passive voice in the past continuous. Object was, were, being, because it's continuous, so we have to use being, plus past participle. Dad was painting my room yesterday at 6 o'clock. Dad subject was painting verb in the past continuous, my room object. Begin with the object, my room, then verb to be in the past continuous, which is was, being. I can say were here because my room, of course, would take was, not were. And then the past participle, which is painted. So our answer would be, my room was being painted by Dad yesterday at 6 o'clock. Slide 8, moving to another tense in the present perfect. So we have to begin with the object, has or have, plus been, plus past participle. For example, when I say the manager has locked the door, the manager subject, has locked verb, the door object. So let's say that the door is the object and we have to begin with, the door has been locked by the manager. Why has, not have? Because the door here, singular, so I have to choose has. Slide 9. The form of passive voice in the past perfect. I mean had plus past participle. And because we are talking here about verb be, past participle would be been. So object had been plus past participle. The room looked much better. Somebody had cleaned it. The room subject looked verb verb in the past simple. Let's look at the other sentence. Somebody and had cleaned. This is the past perfect. Let's say that the room looked much better. It had been cleaned. Slide 10. The form of passive voice in the future. I mean object plus will, and because we are using here will, we have to it should be followed by the infinitive. Infinitive verb to be would be as well. Object will be past participle. They will announce the results in an hour. They will meet you at the train station. You will be met at the train station. The same rule in all tenses. Slide 11. Object am, is or are plus going to plus be plus past. It's still future but using be going to. Yes, I have ing here, but be careful, it's not continuous, it's future by using be going to. They are going to build a new hospital. They, subject, are going to build, all of it, the verb which is in the future using be going to. A new hospital is the object. A new hospital is going to be, infinitive, be built, past participle of the main verb. Slide 12. The form of passive voice in future perfect. Object plus will have been plus past participle. For example, when I say, I will have posted the letters by 6 o'clock. Passive, the letters will have been posted by 6 o'clock. Passive in the imperative, object must be or should plus past participle. When I give order to someone, when I say do your homework, change it into passive. Your homework should be done. You have to know it, that in the imperative you have to use should be or must be. Slide 13, using passive voice in the modals, object plus modal verbs, I mean must, can, should, ought to, have to, has to, a lot of modals. Should be followed by be plus past participle. The doctor must examine you again. So you should send, or you should send the email today. The doctor must examine you again would be you must be examined again by the doctor. You should send the email today. The email should be sent today. Slide 14. We are going to have now some exercises just to make sure that you understood the passive voice, how to change from active into passive. They will send you the boxes next week. use the boxes or you, of course, because we have here two objects. I can answer this sentence in two ways. I can use each object at the beginning of each answer. The boxes will be sent to you next week. You will be sent the boxes next week. I have two answers. Why? Because I have two objects. Let's look at sentence 4. The organizers of the event welcomed the president. Begin with the present. Of course, in the exam, you won't be asked to change into passive. But I'm going to ask you only to begin with a word. You have to understand that I want you to change this active into passive. The president, because it's the object here, you can understand that it's passive voice. Why? Because I asked you to use this object. The president was welcomed by the organizers. Slide 15. Let's read number 7. Everyone went to bed after they had switched off the lights. Change active into passive. Everyone went to bed after the lights had been switched off. Slide 16. Number 10. They serve lunch from 12 to 2. Begin with lunch. So it's the object, it's passive. Lunch is. Why is? Because the verb here is in the present simple. So I have to use verb to be in the present simple as well. Lunch is served from 12 to 2. And you can answer the rest of the sentences depending on your understanding, and you have the answers shown in front of you here, so make sure that you answered correctly. Thanks a lot for your great attention for today, and goodbye.